Quiñones. Tonight, medical mysteries of conditions where the patients are in the grip of forces they can't control. They can't stop gaining weight, can't stop collecting junk, powerless before some of the most basic human urges. What if your brain wouldn't let you throw away even a scrap of paper, a candy wrapper, an old expired coupon? Take a walk with Jay Shadler into a world of ceaseless, painful hoarding.
Let's just dig deeper into this place. I feel like I'm on an archaeological site.
Bring your pickaxe and curiosity.
I don't know what that is.
Because we're going on an expedition.
I don't know if I can climb over there.
Into the homes, this, by the way, is a kitchen, and the minds
It's so overwhelming.
of compulsive hoarders.
I'm just so afraid of losing something important.
Oh my God.
That must be my wallet.
Lorraine,
Yeah. Wait a minute.
here's your wallet.
Yes.
Here's my wallet.
Yes.
Metaphorically, this is your brain. This is mine. What's the difference between our brains? What do you think?
Well, mine's full of crap and yours isn't.
No, that's definitely not it. Even though, as we'll see in a moment, there may be clear physiological differences in the way a hoarder's brain perceives and organizes the world. Lorraine has been hoarding for nearly 20 years. She lives in a two-story house in Massachusetts with her father and her son George.
Do you bring kids here from school?
Not really.
Why not?
My parents say it's too messy.
Also in the house is her fiancé, Rob, who on the back porch, just before my interview with Lorraine, made it clear to me none of this is a joking matter.
My life is not like this.
Of course.
Messy. I'm a neat person. I like things neat.
So at some level, Rob, this must just be
It's killing me. It's killing me. And I've sat there and said to her, please, you're destroying me. You're destroying us.
Honestly, can't blame him. If I could, I'd run away myself. I swear. I swear.
But I
But I just start another pile somewhere else.
To be fair, we all have a bit of the pack rat in us, amplified by a society addicted to consuming and mainlining at the malls. Nature, too, has its hoarders, but when animals squirrel away something, scientists believe it's for survival purposes. What, then, are we to make of this?
What is that?
That's a mango seed that I dried out, and I want to plant it.
Can you grow these up here?
Well, it would have been an indoor thing.
Indoor. Wow.
Lorraine is not stocking the winter shelves here, but the idea of throwing anything away feels to her like a matter of life and death.
That is, that's junk.
I can throw this away?
No, no. You want it?
Kilos, I'm gonna throw that away.
Once it gets thrown away, piece of my life is like gone.
Everything is like her soul. It's like her identity.
Dr. Randy Frost is a professor of psychology at Smith College and an expert on hoarders.
People who hoard tend to view possessions as so unique and so different that they don't fit in a category. They can't put things together and put them away, and it interferes with their ability to live.
Because everything's important.
Everything's important, everything is unique, everything is its own category. Now, how do you organize your world that way?
Hoarding has long been considered a type of obsessive-compulsive disorder, though new research suggests the thought processing of a hoarder's brain is more complex and mysterious than ever imagined. Take Janie, for instance,
Welcome into my mess.
who's accumulated so much stuff she can't even live in her own house anymore. She has to eat and sleep at her mother's.
I remember collecting and keeping and hoarding things since I can remember. And now I'm kind of just living around the piles and piles that I need to get rid of.
Janie is completely aware she has a problem, but she can't stop herself.
Here are my organizational books. I actually have them all on one shelf. The books don't seem to be working.
Her house is jam-packed with at least two of everything.
I have this one and I have this one. In the box, even.
So what is it that prevents hoarders from throwing anything away? In a quest for an answer, researchers at the Institute of Living in Hartford, Connecticut are mapping the brain activity of hoarders. Janie is among the volunteers being tested.
So, we'll go ahead and get set up.
After being placed in an MRI, a tiny screen projects images that Janie can see. In this case, simple pictures of her own personal mail and clipped coupons. By pressing a button, she must decide first whether to save or throw out the object. And second, if it is not saved, is she willing to have it shredded?
It seems that the person who is hoarding is processing this activity as if it is deeply punishing.
That's right, punishing, even torturous for the hoarder. Dr. David Tolan is director of the study.
The person who hoards is going through a very, very effortful search of their memory to try to think of as many things as they can about this item before they make the decision.
Now watch. As Janie contemplates whether to throw away and shred an object, a three-dimensional scan illuminates a sort of tug-of-war inside her brain, within the frontal cortex controlling decision-making, and the hippocampus involved in memory and forming emotional attachments to objects.
It's as if I'm seeing money getting shredded away. You know, couldn't make myself hit the discard button.
Equally intriguing, there may be a method to a hoarder's madness. When most of us organize a stack of papers, for example, we instinctively divide them into groups: bills, pictures, magazines, that sort of thing. But incredibly, hoarders seem to rely on a 3D visual memory. Where's that coupon? 6 inches in and behind the electric bill.
It should be in the drawer where I can't get to it.
Armed with an understanding of how a hoarder's brain works, a small cottage industry of self-help gurus have been preaching the mantra of order and simplicity. Janie has gone so far as to hire a personal anti-shopper, Beth Johnson.
How I try to help Janie in those moments when she's so focused on the item and on nothing else, I try to help her see the larger picture and how this item won't fit into her life.
It's silk, and it's not my size.
The idea is then we should walk away.
Yes, walk away.
But like the gravitational pull of a black hole, the hoarder is easily snagged back into the orbit of searching for new treasures in the trash.
You have to stop by. You have to look. You have to rescue something. It still has a life, a usefulness. And that's why we can't stop doing what we're doing.
All of which brings us back to Lorraine and Rob, who have been trying mightily to save their relationship by throwing out the clutter.
If the end of the relationship was a reality, if that's what was going to happen, would that change you, do you think?
I want to do better. I don't want to live like this anymore. I really don't.
I can't.